Hello, everybody, and welcome to Feel Good Friday at Church at Home with Rachel. Today is the 26th of July. Summer's almost half over, and we are heading into a beautiful weekend. It has been stinking hot here in Brandon, Manitoba. I hope for those of you who are in places where it is also hot that you have opportunities to get to air conditioning or cooling zones. Drink lots of water, stay hydrated, and take good care of yourself. Keep in mind that if you work so hard that you collapse, you'll have twice as much work to do when you pick yourself up. So slow down, do a little less work, and allow yourself to the opportunity to simply to ease into whatever it is you need to do today. You'll get more done by being gentle with yourself than if you push yourself to exhaustion or dehydration. I wanted to talk today on Feel Good Friday about polar bears. I have had so many people ask me how many polar bears I saw when I went to Churchill a couple weeks ago. And the fact is, I saw 0 live polar bears. For those of you who follow me on Facebook, there was a picture of me in the train station before we went back to Winnipeg on the train, standing in front of a polar bear. And there's one of Rob where he's like, he's grimacing, like he's scared of the polar bear. And I'm not real creative, so I'm just like, hey, standing there in front of the polar bear. The fact is, the polar bears aren't July is a little early for them. Sort of August, September is when they come in because they prefer to be on the ice floes. They like to be on the ice where they can dive for seal and fish and things like that. And then when the ice melts, then they come on land. And even though it has been stinking hot and climate change has affected things, there is still a little bit of ice in the north, and the bears just haven't come very much on land. When we were there, they were mentioning that the helicopter tours and the ecological groups and the research study groups that have been out said they had seen maybe 8 to 10 bears on land in remote parts of like a little further north, but none had been seen in town and none had been seen in the park. One day we did spend an exorbitant amount of money to go on what's called a tundra buggy. So it's like a really, really big bus on tank tracks so they can go over rocks and through water. It was very, very cool. We would all of a sudden just go off the road and into water that was fairly deep, like a couple feet, and we would just keep on chugging on the bottom of the body of water and come back up on the other side. And we saw bald eagles, and we saw a family of foxes. The mama fox actually came from where they were with their den, and the foxes, the baby foxes playing, came way out and around and up behind our tundra buggy. It was almost like she was trying to lead us off in a different direction, like she was trying to decoy us away from her family. It was very cool. I got a bit of a video of that. It was just absolutely remarkable. But we did not see any polar bears. We saw Bonaparte gulls, which apparently are the only seagulls that nest in trees, named after Napoleon Bonaparte's nephew, who was an ornithologist. We saw a couple of heron. We saw bald eagles. We saw this other kind of bird that it's kind of weird. It chases down the other birds and tries to steal the food out of their mouths. And if it can't get that, it will chase them until the birds have had to fly so fast and so long that they throw up, and then these birds will eat the food that the other birds vomit. It's a very weird thing, but it's a thing. And to think that God created all of these creatures to be exactly who they are and how they have evolved into being. It's amazing. So I did not see any polar bears. Maybe next time next time I go, maybe I'll plan to go in August or September and get up there when the polar bears will be out, and the tundra buggy will be ready it'll be worth the money to go and see the polar bears, because even the driver of the tundra buggy keeps a shotgun in the buggy because they will come after people. So like they tell you, do not stick your hands out the windows. Like if there are polar bears, you stay inside the tundra buggy. They're very good about stopping and letting you get pictures and things like that, but they want to keep you safe. We also got to go on Zodiac boats, and we went out into Churchill River, up the estuary where it's very brackish. So they're the clear inland water. meets the salt water of the ocean from the Arctic Ocean in Hudson's Bay, comes together. It's called brackish. And the beluga whales they'll go up the estuary toward the clear, up the river into the estuary toward the clear water during the summer. And so we got to see beluga whales. And in our zodiac, we saw many of them. The mamas, which are white, and the babies, which are still gray as they grow, their skin or their skin, whatever it's called, their tone changes. And it was amazing because the babies would come out of the water. They didn't breach, they didn't come all the way out, but the mama would come up, and then the baby would be right at mom's hip, and they come up and go back down. And the babies are learning how to communicate and stuff. So there's a lot of bubbles being blown. One of the whales we saw came up with two babies on her hip. It's amazing. They were so close. And then as we got moving, there was a mama and a baby that were actually chasing the boat, like coming right up and bumping into the boat. We could have reached out and touched them. It was incredible. And in case you're concerned, the Zodiacs have a bumper built around their motors so that the whales can't get hurt or cut by the rotor spinning. It was absolutely incredible. Some people went out on we stayed in a cottage that had a common area and kitchen and two bathrooms and four rooms. And in one of the rooms were two young men from France, and they went kayaking with the belugas. And the one young man said that one of the belugas came right up and bumped into his kayak and almost tipped him right over. I mean, they're very friendly. They're apparently the belugas that come to Churchill and up into the Hudson's Bay and then down the Churchill River are the only ones in the world that are friendly like this. So, it figures that, they come to be hang out with friendly Canadians. It's pretty awesome. That day was beautiful. And at the end of the tour of the belugas, she saw the ice floes. Our tour guide saw ice floes. So she was hoping there might be some bears. So we took an extension and she took us out into Hudson Bay, and we got to see these ice floes. They weren't icebergs, but they're called flow ice. And it was absolutely incredible to see because under the water, they are indeed bigger than what's on top. And she said we should be very careful because you can't see where they are, and you can actually bump the Kodiak up onto ice or into ice without seeing it. The Zodiac, sorry. But it was absolutely incredible. And what was most amazing, what felt the best, which was so silly, is how many times between grade 1 and grade 9 geography did I have to sit down with my colored crayons, my pencil crayons, and color the different provinces of Canada and the water bodies and name them for geography classes. And every year we talked about Hudson Bay, James Bay, the Great Lakes, and all of these things. And realizing that for all those times, all those years that I spent coloring in the blue of Hudson Bay, I was in it. I never in a million years, all those times in geography class, never thought to myself that someday I'll be up there in Churchill. Someday I will be living in Manitoba. Someday I will be floating in a little boat in whale-infested waters on Hudson Bay. How amazing is that? It feels good to do new things. And I am a chicken. For those of you who've been watching me for a while, you know that I am a big chicken. But the fact is that I had the courage to go on that tundra buggy, knowing I'd be safe if we found any bears, but knowing that I was out there in that area watching wildlife, seeing the earth the way God made it. It was so different than any other geographical area I've seen before. It was incredibly beautiful. The tundra, the rocks, the lichen, the moss, the different colors that exist where no one else does. And then to be out on that water in Hudson Bay, in Churchill River, with the whales right there. I got a selfie with a whale. I mean, never when I was a little girl could I have imagined that. I am learning every day, the older I get, that my imagination is limited. That what God will do when we allow God to work in our lives is so much greater than anything we could ever ask or imagine. My Feel Good Friday hope for you is that you will find things to do this weekend, people to talk to, situations to experience, books to read of things that you never ever thought, asked, or imagined. Things that will broaden your horizons and lead you to understand that the world is so much bigger than we are. And that is something to definitely feel good about. Have a great day. God bless you. And I will see you again on Sunday for Gospel on the Go and on Monday for Church at Home with Rachel.